Hello, my name's Justine and I'm 32 years old. Today I want to tell you about how I cut off contact with the only member of my family. I know it's sad, and this is just a way for me to let go of whatever feelings I had regarding the whole thing. Let me start from the beginning. My parents passed away when I was 15 years old, and shortly after that my grandmother passed away. The only remaining family I had, at least family that lived in my state, was my grandfather, William. Now, my grandpa and I already had a very good relationship. I was his only granddaughter and he spoiled me senseless. There was nothing I asked for that I didn't get. So even though I was grieving from the loss of my parents and grandma, I was happy that I got to live with him. Because he lost his family too, Grandpa became very, very overprotective of me. It took him a whole year to let me even go out of the house of my own, even if that meant just going over to the neighbor's house to play video games with my friends. He was also very critical and opinionated about my friends. These opinions of his never stayed between us only. His behavior changed based on who he was talking to, which scared a lot of my friends. As a result, I lost quite a few of them, and boyfriends? Don't even begin. I had 2 boyfriends and he made both of them cry, and then they left me. As much as I loved him, when it came time for college, I was ecstatic to leave. I wanted to live a life free of his judgment and influence. I moved to a college in the next state, and I will admit I did go a little crazy because I finally experienced a little freedom. That was until I met my husband, Henry. Henry and I shared a few classes together and we got to talking. It also helped that he was a very attractive man. I ended up developing a huge feelings for him, and I planned to ask him out at the end of the semester. However, when the time came, I chickened out and went back home instead of a semester break. I was super excited to meet Grandpa after a long time. Hey, Grandpa. Hi, sweetie. How are you? I'm doing good. What about you? All's well. How's college doing? It's hard, but what more do you expect when you're studying computer science? At least you'll be well settled later. That is honestly the only thing I'm doing this for. What else is new with you? Well, I met someone in college. Oh, who is it? His name is Henry. We've been sharing a few classes together and we got to talking. Are the both of you dating? Not yet. I mean, I want to, but I don't know if he likes me. If he doesn't like you, then he's an idiot. Grandpa. What? Look at you. You're a pretty lady and you're very smart. And any boy that cannot see that doesn't deserve any of your attention. Okay. I'll probably ask him out soon. Well, if the relationship goes well, bring him over. Are you sure? Why are you asking me that? Well, it's just that you tend to be really overprotective of me. When did I ever give you that impression? You have to be joking right now, right? The last time I had a boyfriend and I brought him over, you made him cry with all your snide remarks. He told every guy in my high school, and that's why I never had a relationship after him. In my defense, he wasn't the best guy for you. You didn't even know him enough to make that judgment. Fine. If you think that I'll be too judgy, why don't you bring your soon-to-be boyfriend over and see just how open-minded and accepting I am? All right, but if there's even a hint of meanness from your side, I'll leave, and you'll never meet him or any other boyfriends if I have any. Okay. Now, how about we eat lunch? Meeting Grandpa was great and all, but even though I promised him that I'd introduce him to Henry, I knew that it would be a while before I actually did that. I not only needed to get into a relationship with Henry, but I also had to make sure that Henry and I were compatible enough for me to even bring him home. Besides, if there was one thing that I did learn from my past relationships, it was to never bring a boyfriend home until you've been with him for at least 6 to 7 months. When I returned back to college, Henry surprised me by asking me out, and I was overjoyed. We began dating after that, and things were going pretty well. I would frequently go back home whenever I could, just to make sure that Grandpa was doing okay. Every time that I did go home, Grandpa would ask me when I was bringing Henry over. I would always make up some excuse as to why I didn't bring Henry over. Grandpa must have known that these were excuses, but he never forced me to bring Henry over. But I did make sure to tell Grandpa about all the good things about Henry. I told him over and over again that Henry made me happy. I knew that I needed to be strategic about how I would introduce Henry. If I wanted Grandpa to like Henry, I needed to create a good impression of him first. Grandpa began to care less and less about Henry, which was honestly a relief considering that meant that I didn't have to speak too much about him. I managed to keep that jig up until in my junior year I decided that it was time for my grandpa to meet Henry. I only made that decision because I knew that Henry was going to be the one for me and I wanted Grandpa to meet him. Henry was very nervous about meeting Grandpa, and that was very understandable. I tried my best to calm him down while also constantly reminding Grandpa about his promise to be nice to Henry. Grandpa assured me that he would be nice, and I believed him, like a fool. Anyways, when we got to Grandpa's place, Grandpa greeted us warmly. "Welcome, welcome. It's nice to see you both." "Hi, Grandpa. This is Henry, my boyfriend." "Hi, Henry. I'm William. It's a pleasure to meet you." "Hello. Justine has told me a lot about you. I promise you I only have her best interests at heart." "You better. Justine's told me a lot about you as well. I've been waiting for 2 years now to see the boy that has captured my granddaughter's heart." "You know that I was scared to bring him around." Yes, but you're here anyway, so tell me a little more about yourself, Henry." "Grandpa, this isn't a job interview." "I never said it was. I just want to get to know the boy a little better." "Oh, it's okay, Justine. Well, I'm from Colorado, but I moved here for college, and I'm a junior right now." "Oh, wow, Colorado. That's a big move." "Yeah, it was pretty hard to adjust to the big change, but Justine made it easier and well worth it." "I bet. So, what are you studying?" "I'm majoring in ceramics and sculptures and minoring in literature." "Huh, I see. Is there a problem?" "Grandpa?" No, I'm not being judgmental at all." "Good, then let's just have dinner." "If I may just say one thing." "I don't think that's necessary." "How do you plan to survive in the future, Henry?" Pardon me? What do you mean?" "You're clearly not serious about the future. Your degree seems like a joke." "Grandpa, that is enough." "Well, it's really not. There's a huge industry for it, and I'm making money off of my ceramics right now." "Sure, but how long do you plan to survive on the bare minimum? I mean, I see why you're with my granddaughter now." "What do you mean?" "You're clearly only here with her because you know that if you get married to her, your entire future will be settled." "That is enough. This is exactly why I never wanted to bring Henry over. You are rude and disrespectful. Come on, Henry, we're leaving." "Oh, come on, Justine. Don't throw a fit right now. I was only worried for you." "You can be worried for me, but you don't have to be a jerk about it. I don't want to talk to you until you write Henry a good apology. Goodbye." At the start of the conversation, I was in fact happy that Grandpa was so nice. Until he wasn't. I never even stopped to think that Henry's degree would be an issue for Grandpa. I mean, I get why Grandpa had some issues with it, but there was a way that he could have taken to be more discreet with his concerns. At the very least, he could have pulled me aside and talked to me about it. But no, he had to be rude about it to Henry's face. If there's one thing I absolutely love about Henry, it's his passion. I knew just how passionate he was about his degree, and most of all, about his art. Grandpa did not even hesitate to crap all over that and insult Henry. That made me very mad. I grabbed Henry and we stormed right off. I didn't see why we had to continue lunch with a judgmental snob. Henry kept trying to persuade me to go back. He told me that he would deal with everything, but I reminded him that the entire point of his meeting with Grandpa was for Grandpa to show me that he was respectful of my decisions and of him. To make matters worse, Grandpa never reached out to me after that either, by call or text. Every time I thought of giving in and checking in on him, I would remember just how hurt Henry looked when Grandpa said all those mean things about him, and hot rage would fill my veins. So I never reached out to Grandpa either. So for the next 4 years, I did not speak with him. I achieved quite a few milestones, all of which Grandpa was not a part of. Of course, it hurt me deeply, but I was adamant about not being the first one to cave. In my mind, if I caved, then I'd set a precedent for Grandpa that he could insult Henry all he wanted, and then I'd still talk to him. That was not what I was going to allow. Finally, one summer morning, Grandpa called me. "Hi, sweetie." "Hello, Grandpa." "It's been quite a few years since we last spoke properly." "Well, you refused to apologize, so I saw no reason to speak to you." "You're right. I was just being stubborn. I thought I was looking out for you, but I guess I was just hurting you and not considering your feelings." "Wow. I did not expect you to actually apologize." "It was way overdue. Besides, it's stupid to jeopardize my relationship with my only granddaughter because of my prejudice." "I'm glad that you're making up for it. I'm grateful that you found it in your heart to repair our relationship." "Of course. So tell me what's been new with you." "Oh, nothing really. I graduated and got a pretty good job. I'm living pretty comfortably." "Oh, that's great to hear. What about your dating life?" "Are you sure you want to open this can of worms after we just started talking?" "Oh, come on. I'm a new and improved man right now." "Fine. I'm still with Henry, and we're doing great." "Huh? You're still with him?" "Well, yes. He makes me happy. I love him." "And what is he doing career-wise?" "He's working for this small business that makes these intricate and expensive ceramics. He's doing pretty well." "Oh, well, as long as you're happy, I guess." "I can sense that you have things to say, but I'm glad that you aren't saying them." "Well, look, I don't want us to fight anymore, and as long as he isn't being a financial burden on you, you're free to do whatever you want." "He's definitely contributing equally to all household expenses." "Are you staying with him?" "Yeah, we found this beautiful apartment after we graduated, and we've been living together ever since." "You got a new place? That's great, sweetie." "Yeah. Why don't you come over for dinner sometime?" "Sure. Just tell me the time and place and I'll be there with a nice bottle of wine." Now, I wasn't naive enough to fully believe that my grandpa had changed, but I also wanted to give him a chance to prove that he had. Henry was very glad that Grandpa and I had made amends and took it upon himself to clean the entire house and also cook a delicious meal for us. Don't worry, I helped too. But Henry was very stubborn about doing it because he wanted to really impress Grandpa. We were set to meet him a week after our call. I was very, very nervous about Grandpa coming over, but I kept reminding myself that 4 years ago I was a different person. So that meant that even Grandpa was a different person. He was very capable of having a change of heart. In that week that we waited for Grandpa's visit, Henry ended up taking me on a date to this lovely French restaurant where he proposed to me. He had been planning the proposal for months and even made a reservation at the restaurant months in advance. It just so happened to fall that week. I was over the moon with joy, and I hoped that Grandpa would be happy for me too. When it came time to meet Grandpa, I found myself tearing up when I saw him. I really did miss him, and the first thing I did was give him a big hug. "Hello, William. Welcome to our humble abode." "Ah, this is a nice and cozy place." Yes, but aside from our nice home, we also have some bigger news for you." "Please don't tell me you're pregnant. You're way too young for that." "No, it's not that, but—" "Henry proposed." "What?" "Yeah, I was seriously worried that she was going to say no." "She didn't?" "Of course not, Grandpa. I said yes. We're officially engaged." "Why?" "Excuse me?" "Justine, you know how I feel about this man." "I thought we were good." "Only for show. I just hoped that the two of you would break up soon." "What even is your problem?" "My problem is that you're with a man who barely has a career. He's literally doing something that children do. You can't possibly think that you'll be able to live and survive with this." "Why are you only looking at that aspect? Besides, didn't I tell you that he's been contributing equally to the household expenses?" "For all I know, you could be lying. I don't trust that someone who makes clay bowls makes around the same amount as a computer engineer." I'm not lying. And even if I was, why is it any of your business? I'm happy. Is that not enough for you? It would be enough, but you're clearly not thinking straight. You know that I'm only looking out for you. You aren't looking out for me. You're being rude and disrespectful. All you're doing is looking out for yourself. You don't really care about me. You're worried about that me marrying Henry would ruin your image. You can believe what you want to, but you are not marrying him. And what if I will marry him? If you marry him, you will no longer be my granddaughter. Wow. Is that all it takes for you to disown your family? Family listens to each other. You are clearly not family enough, so I have no problem letting you go. Great. You can leave my home right now and never speak to me. So, you're choosing this man over your own grandfather? Family doesn't give ultimatums. They're supportive of each other. That is something you clearly can't do, so I have no problem letting you go either. Goodbye now. I couldn't believe that Grandpa was willing to disown me over his opinion about who I should marry. Whatever anger I had let go of to make amends with him came back with twice the power. I kicked Grandpa out after that and had a good long cry. I just could not understand why he was being such a jerk. Did he really not see how well we were living and how happy I was? Did all he care about was him being listened to? Once again, I completely understood where his concern stemmed from, but there was no need for him to be crass about it. Henry was also very hurt at the way that Grandpa viewed him. He hoped that Grandpa would at least give him a chance, maybe actually get to know him rather than make judgments about him and our future based on his career alone. I wanted that too, which was the only reason that I offered to make amends in the first place. It took some time for me to deal with the emotional effects of getting disowned by my only family member, but with Henry's help I was able to go back to my normal life. We busied ourselves with wedding preparations, and a year after Henry proposed, we got married. That day was truly one of the happiest days of my life. Since I had no family from my side, Henry's family took it upon themselves to constantly remind me that I was a part of their family now, and that they would always be there for me. In case you couldn't guess, that day was filled with a lot of tears, at least on my end. Anyway, I didn't hear anything from Grandpa for longer this time. I mean, I figured I wouldn't, considering he disowned me, but still. Henry and I moved to another house, one that was a wedding gift from his parents, and I never gave Grandpa my address. Yet one fine day, I got a knock on the door and got the shock of my life when I see Grandpa standing there. I felt angry, but I tried my best to remain calm and collected. Grandpa, what are you doing here? Hi, sweetie. Don't hi, sweetie to me. How did you find out where we live? Oh, are you and Henry still together? I mean, I assume you are, considering that you're still living in an apartment. If all you're here to do is insult my loving marriage, I don't want to speak to you. But you need to tell me how you found my address and why you're here. Well, I may have asked around for your address and found it. As for you and Henry being together, I'm sorry for the way I reacted. I don't think I can trust any of your apologies. You've proven to me time and time again that you never mean what you say. No, this time I sincerely mean it. I doubt that you only came here to apologize. Tell me the real reason you're here. No. What other? Cut it out. I'm giving you exactly 1 minute to tell me what you're here for. Otherwise, I'm shutting this door in your face. Fine. Look, I really am sorry about everything, and I came over hoping to make things between us better. Why all of a sudden? I haven't been doing so well recently, health-wise that is. It's getting harder and harder each day to do the things that I otherwise did with ease. Well, I'm sorry that you're going through that, but what exactly do you want me to do about it? I was just wondering, would you consider helping me out? Maybe you and Henry could move in with me? Absolutely not. What? Why? Why would I voluntarily move in with someone who has been nothing but hostile to my husband? Why do you care about that? You're my granddaughter. My declining health should be a scary thing for you. Your granddaughter? Last time I checked, I'm not your granddaughter anymore. You can't be serious. I am. You disowned me over something so arbitrary. You didn't care about me or the fact that you missed the two biggest milestones of my life all because of your ego. I see no reason to help you out when you've been disrespectful towards me at all times. I only cared for you. You can't tell me that my concerns were stupid. I have no issues with the fact that you had your concerns. In fact, I think you had some very valid concerns, but what I did not like was how disrespectful you were about it. I wish you nothing but the best for the future. But who helped me out? I don't know. Ask your family. Bye. A part of me did feel bad for turning Grandpa away, but I knew that letting him in would only cause a lot more trouble. I had given him chance after chance to make up for his judgmental behavior, but he has proved to me over and over again that he was never going to change. The very fact that he was okay not being in contact with me for 5 years, all because of his beliefs, told me that he was not ever ready to apologize. He only wanted to right his wrong because he needed help. He showed absolutely no change, and I saw no reason in helping a man who was so hell-bent on sticking to what he believed was right. More importantly, he was willing to disrespect and belittle the only other person I considered to be my family. I don't really know what happened to Grandpa after that. He never contacted me again, although I did get a lot of messages from Grandpa's sister's family, calling me a bad person for not helping him. Of course, I told him that they were more than free to take over my responsibility of taking care of him. None of them responded to me again. I was fine with that. As for Henry and I, we're doing great. It wasn't easy for us to get over the guilt of abandoning Grandpa, but we did. We've been making a lot more plans for our future, including having children. It's been a few months since I last saw Grandpa, and I was honestly prepared to make amends as long as he reached out first, but he never did. I'm carrying on with my life right now, and things are going well. There's nothing to do but move forward and look forward to all the many wonderful things that life has in store for me.